My sister-in-law always treated me like dirt, but when she crashed my wedding and ruined my dress, nobody expected what my mother-in-law did next. The look on her face when the inheritance was announced made everything worth it. I, 26F, never had a good relationship with my sister-in-law Jane, 29F, and after what happened at my wedding, I don't think I ever will. I've spent countless nights wondering if I could have done something differently, if there was any way to prevent things from getting so out of hand. But looking back now, I realize that some people just refuse to accept happiness in others' lives. From the moment I started dating her brother Tom, 27M, during our junior year of college, she made it clear that she thought I wasn't good enough for him. I still remember the first time I met her at their family's Sunday dinner. I had brought a homemade apple pie, my grandmother's recipe that everyone usually loves. Jane took one look at it and said, "Oh, how quaint." Tom's last girlfriend was a pastry chef, you know. That set the tone for our entire relationship. It didn't matter that Tom and his last girlfriend had only dated for 2 months in high school, or that she had never actually completed her pastry training. Jane had decided I wasn't good enough, and nothing would change her mind. For 3 years, I tried everything to win her over, bringing her favorite desserts to family dinners. I learned to make her beloved tiramisu from scratch, offering to help with her kids' birthday parties. I once stayed up all night making custom decorations for her daughter's princess-themed party, even defending her when she'd have arguments with other family members. I remember one particular Thanksgiving when she got into a heated argument with their cousin about politics, and I stepped in to smooth things over, even though I actually agreed with the cousin. But nothing worked. If anything, my attempts to be nice seemed to make her resent me more. She would constantly make snide remarks about my job as a kindergarten teacher, saying things like at least someone in the family needs to make real money, referring to Tom's job as an engineer. When I got promoted to lead teacher at my school, she rolled her eyes and said, "Wow, from babysitter to head babysitter. What an achievement." It didn't matter that I had a master's degree in early childhood education, or that I'd been published in educational journals. To Jane, anything that wasn't a 6-figure corporate job was beneath her family's status. She even went so far as to send Tom job listings for more suitable women at his company, which I only found out about when he showed me the messages, furious at her interference. She accidentally excluded me from family events, then act surprised when I'd show up with Tom. Once, she planned a huge family reunion cruise and somehow forgot to tell us until 2 days before, knowing we couldn't possibly make it. When we confronted her, she gasped dramatically and said, "Oh my goodness, I could have sworn I sent you the invitation. It must have gotten lost in the mail. 6 months ago." She then spent the next 3 family gatherings showing everyone photos from the cruise, making sure to emphasize how complete the family felt with everyone there. I kept trying to be nice because I loved Tom and wanted to maintain peace in the family. His mom Sarah, 55F, was always incredibly kind to me and would often apologize for Jane's behavior. She would pull me aside after particularly nasty incidents, give me a hug, and tell me that Jane had always struggled with sharing attention, even as a child. But as much as Sarah tried to mediate, Jane just got worse over time. It was like my very presence in their lives offended her on a fundamental level. Everything came to a head at our wedding last month. We had decided on a beautiful garden venue that Tom's parents had gotten married at 30 years ago. I had spent months planning everything down to the smallest detail, working extra hours at school to afford the little touches that would make it perfect. The ceremony was set for sunset, with fairy lights strung through the trees and soft classical music playing. My dress was particularly special. It was my late mother's wedding dress that I had carefully altered. Mom and I had started the alterations together during her chemotherapy sessions. She would sit in her hospital bed, sketching designs and telling me stories about her own wedding day. "Something old, something new," she'd say, as we planned how to modernize the dress while keeping its vintage charm. We managed to finish most of the planning before she passed, and I worked with her favorite seamstress to bring our vision to life. The seamstress even incorporated some of Mom's favorite lace from her veil into the new design, saying it was her way of making sure Mom would be walking down the aisle with me. During the reception, everything seemed perfect at first. The speeches had been wonderful, with Tom's father moving everyone to tears with his toast about love and family. Even Jane had behaved during the ceremony, though she had made a few comments about how her wedding had been much grander. I was walking on air, feeling like maybe, just maybe, we could finally move past all the drama. That's when Jane came up to me with a full glass of red wine, her 3rd or 4th of the evening by my count. I still remember the look in her eyes as she tripped and spilled it all over my dress. The worst part? She didn't even pretend it was an accident. She just smirked and said, "Oops, guess some stains never come out," a clear reference to how she saw me as a stain on their family. I broke down crying. Not just because of the dress, but because of all the years of abuse I'd endured trying to keep the peace. The dress had been the last physical connection I had to my mother, who passed away from cancer 5 years ago. She had been so excited when I told her I wanted to wear her dress, and we had spent hours planning the alterations together during her final months in the hospital. It was like Jane had deliberately chosen the most painful way possible to hurt me. Tom was furious and started yelling at Jane, but what happened next shocked everyone. Sarah, who had witnessed everything, stood up and addressed the entire reception hall. She announced that she had been planning to update her will to include both her children equally, but after witnessing Jane's behavior, she was making a change. The room fell silent as Sarah explained that she had watched for years as Jane bullied and belittled me, making excuses for her daughter's behavior out of maternal love. But watching Jane deliberately destroy my wedding dress, knowing full well its significance and my mother's recent passing, had opened her eyes to just how toxic Jane's behavior had become. I cannot and will not fund cruelty, Sarah declared, her voice shaking but firm.